The White Sox have 31 wins, and it's not even the All-Star break. Is this allowed? Welcome to the CHGO White Sox post-game show. CHGO White Sox post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. We are coming to you live after a White Sox winner, 2-1. We are talking about Adrian Houser today. We're going to be talking about Grant Taylor and Jordan Leisure. Then we'll be talking about some draft prospects. And then to wrap it up, the cherry on top, there's another French saying, I think. I can't.
Je ne sais quoi?
I don't speak French, so I don't know what the hell you just said. There's something out there, but we're going to be talking about the 2005 White Sox team because the lineup has been announced for this weekend as the White Sox welcome in the Guardians four-game set. There are a ton of giveaways this weekend. If you haven't gone to the park this year and you're looking for any reason to go to the park, they want you to go this weekend and go celebrate the 2005 team. It should be fun. Christian's in the chat. He's saying Andrew Vaughn game-tying hit plus RBI. Ooh, great. Well, can't wait to watch that highlight. Bet it was a liner to right field. I am Sean Anderson, your CHGO White Sox host. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I'm being produced today by my pal, Joey Christopoulos.
Always good to see you, Sean.
And if you...
Especially on a White Sox winner.
Well,
winning Wednesday.
If you couldn't see, too, that probably means tragedy has happened.
How do you
Maybe
figure?
You had a surgery. If you're not seeing me, that might mean that you've lost your ability to. Anyways, Sox win 2-1. We saw this one pretty clear. The White Sox had a pretty good day today. Adrian Houser has been an absolute horse for the Chicago White Sox. We'll talk about his trade value. They were closed out very nicely by Jordan Leisure and Grant Taylor. We'll talk about that duo because we saw good Jordan Leisure today. I wanted to see more Grant Taylor, but beggars can't be choosers. And again, we'll talk about what the White Sox will do with their 10th pick coming up, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, as they have the 10th overall pick in the 2025 MLB draft. Adrian Houser's numbers are final for today, so let's talk about this amazing stat line. 7 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 2 Ks, 2 walks. Adrian Houser continues to walk the tightrope. Do you remember that kind of TV event? I think NBC hosted it, and it was a guy in New York who was going to walk across, I think, the Empire State Building to something else, maybe the Chrysler Building. I don't know New York.
Back when magic was real.
Right, but they had him walk that tightrope over New York, and I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. I can't wait for this to be in Guinness Book of World Records.
Are you saying that guy's the spirit animal of Adrian Houser's pitching performances?
Absolutely. No, I think that this man's tightroping has been absolutely impressive. The one thing that this guy does is throw first pitch strikes. I think they showed a graphic right as he was about to wrap up, and it was like 17 of 21 first pitch strikes. I'll get you the actual numbers in a second, but 57 and 2/3 innings pitched this year for the White Sox in 9 games, a 1.56 ERA, a 1.13 WHIP, 47 hits allowed, 39 strikeouts, 18 walks. I think he is not allowed a homer. 1 homer. Let me see. I don't actually have that number here. Why does ESPN not have it? Yeah, 2 homers. So again, talking about walking that tightrope, I mean, well under a strikeout per 9. He's walking guys as well. I mean, 2 walks today. He allows 9 base runners in 7 innings pitched. But he's typically just able to get that ground ball. And that's the one signature of his career is he's always been able to induce poor contact. And the one thing that's stayed at least consistent for these 9 games for Adrian Houser with the White Sox is the fact that he's been able to load the strike zone up with strikes and not really give somebody a choice to not swing. He has been slimmed down, so it does seem like not only is his stamina increased, but it also seems like his ability to just throw strikes and command his pitches has increased as well. He has a better pitch repertoire that has been changed from Milwaukee as well, but I think the main thing was him changing his diet, as the SYN broadcast brought up when the Mets were getting to see him for a second time, and they were like, wow, this guy just looks incredibly skinny. We're talking about, Ozempic Houser here.
I was going to say, they detail the diet at all. Any tips and tricks for the summertime, for those summer bods?
Carnivore diet.
Oh, so you went to like paleo.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever it works for you. Nothing's really changed mainly about his repertoire. The sinker was used last year 43% of the time. It's still been used 43% of the time. The main change was the curve was only used 8% of the time. Now this year, 17% of the time. The four-seamer still sticking around 16%. The changeup has increased about 4%, and the changeup looks nice. When he gets it low in the zone, it looks really nice, but he also throws some like kind of Sean Burke changeups from 2 nights ago that they just stay up and get absolutely hammered. And then he has a slider as well that's kind of just iffy, and they've fairly abandoned it. That was used 17% of the time. That's now only used 8% of the time. But Houser, what he's been able to do, especially over the past 3 starts, is just go deep for the Chicago White Sox. Today, 7 innings pitched. Last outing on the 4th, 8 innings pitched, no earned runs. And then on the 28th against San Francisco, 7 innings pitched, no earned runs. He even did very well against Toronto on June 22nd, 6 1/3, 2 earned runs. So kind of repeating this outing today, even doing just a smidgen better. So congrats to Adrian Houser. I don't know if this tweet was kosher from our friends over at CHSN, as after 8 starts, this is a fact. This does feel a little state media, though. There does feel a little bit of a hollowness in the studio when this graphic is tweeted out. Joey, can you show this graphic from our friends over at CHSN? The last 8 starts, MLB ERA ranks since May 20th. The leader, Ranger Suarez, 1.05 from the Philadelphia Phillies. Paul Skeens from the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1.35. Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers, 1.45. Zach Wheeler from the Philadelphia Phillies, 1.56. And Adrian Houser tied with Zach Wheeler. Why do you need to pay Zach Wheeler and his wife, who doesn't want to come here, $125 million when you could just sign Adrian Houser off the streets? Guy was pitching in Round Rock, and since May 20th, he's been just as good as Zach Wheeler.
The league is on notice.
That's the
league is on notice. Reverberations throughout Major League Baseball.
Let this go by, but this is the whole kind of lead into the subject here: is what is Adrian Houser's actual value? I don't think the league is on notice. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Yes. Adrian Houser has pitched well. Adrian Houser has gotten good results. Adrian Houser has been incredibly reliable. I think teams like the Chicago Cubs, who are desperate for starting pitching, other teams as well, I'm just using the Cubs as an example because I hear Luke and Cody complain quite often about their lack of starting pitching. That team would be thrilled for Adrian Houser to finish the regular season with them. But I would be surprised, unless it is in a true janitor role, Adrian Houser making a playoff roster. And that's the real thing about Houser right now, is he can change his diet, he can slim down. It does seem like he is a better pitcher, but is he truly effective? They would rather a guy that can throw 99 out of the bullpen than Adrian Houser, who can give you a consistent 7 innings, but also, put a base runner on every single inning. I don't think that Houser is going to have that much value. Beef Loaf of the 108 said that Houser in 2 weeks is going to return a quad A guy with no power and no options and a 7th-ish part of the rotation, right? Don't get your hopes up, because some people do think that it's going to be a haul. Shout out to my guy, Bobby Copel, who said that Adrian Houser, each and every start, is increasing his trade value. Or let me see what actually Bobby said word for word. Houser has pitched himself into getting a legit return. Honestly shocking. Legit.
Yeah, dive into that word.
I think that he could be Tanner Banks valuable. I said, and Bobby hasn't responded, I think it will be Bergoya-esque. I think that you could probably get a teenager, 18 to 19, likely an A-ball, that projects to be at least a good fielder. That is like in the teens of a team's prospect ranking. I maybe a little bit better than that, but part of the Tanner Banks appeal, which, oh boy, I mean, hey, that's probably just a huge zeitgeist thing, the Tanner Banks appeal. I think that, Banks had control. Houser doesn't have control after this year. He's very cheap. He's only $1 million. So if you prorate his contract, I think it's going to be under $1 million for Houser. But, you're only getting about 9 more starts, 8 more starts, and then he's likely not going to be on your playoff roster. So I don't think it's going to be that interesting of a return, even though he's pitched well. He's cheap, and the biggest hope is that you could just get into a bidding war and maybe your $500 Superman comic is paid for, $650, Maybe instead of a 15th prospect, you get like a 13th, 12th, or 11th, right? I would be surprised if they got a top 10 prospect from a team that wasn't 24 to 25 plus, right? If you're getting somebody that is in the top 10, you're getting somebody who's aging out of just being a prospect and is getting closer to the Zach Collins real estate agents area, which is a fine job.
Yeah, I think you're onto something here of that classic try and target someone, as you said, incredibly young, low class A, and maybe someone that has a hit profile or something that you like, but probably isn't maybe succeeding at the class A level. Kind of like a project a little bit, but has the youth that you can kind of bank in, kind of like a lottery ticket.
Well, the thing about Bergoglio was, he was performing well at Class A. It's just that the true scouts, especially with his size being 5'8", it just didn't seem like he would be able to hit at levels above that. So, I mean, it's not even maybe about, the unperforming well. I mean, you could get somebody who's, tearing the ball off of A-ball. I mean, that's just what, you're advanced A away, double A away, triple A away. You're still 3 levels away. Yeah. I mean, we love Riku Nishida on this podcast, but the whole thing about Nishida is, he could do really well against, pitching. I just don't think he can do really well against major league pitching. Nishida is going to be very well against, double A and below. That could be the type of hitter that they're getting, like a Jacob Gonzalez-esque player, where Gonzalez is a really good fielder, and while he's shown some pop at Birmingham as of late, it seems like that will be the best or the most that he will succeed at a level. It doesn't really project to be a major league bat.
Right. I think what I'm trying to get across to White Sox fans listening to this right now is, I guess, don't freak out if the return is someone maybe at one of the lower levels of the minor leagues and he's hitting only 230 at low class A. I think they're going to try and go for skills and go for profile and go for age more than anything a version of result. Because that's what we do. We flip out he's only hitting blah, blah, blah. That's all that they got back. I think you're saying read a little bit deeper into it when we're talking about what we could get back from Adrian Houser.
Yeah, people are gonna freak out no matter what.
You'll be on notice.
That's the thing. Yeah. Christian Bernardo says package Houser with Tauchman and Steven Wilson to the Cubs for Triantos and Jonathan Long. I know nothing about Jonathan Long, and I know Triantos is I know Cassie is the guy. So I don't know. I don't really know if I have that much interest in Triantos or Long. I think, again, AAA outfielders, The interesting thing about Tauchman, too, that's been brought up by James Fox is he does have an arbitration year next year. So, I mean, he could be fairly cheap if the White Sox do want to keep him around. So, I think Houser and Wilson together, that could be interesting because you could get a pen arm, too. So, I don't hate that direction there, Christian. We're going to take a break here in a second. We'll talk about Kevin's comment in a second where he talks about Jordan Leisure coming in and his heart-stopping. We'll also talk about Grant Taylor's performance. We'll do that in just a second here on the CHGO White Sox podcast presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Here's the break. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, whether you're a novice or an expert. If you're a novice, their wonderful, kind, knowledgeable budtenders can help you through their large menu and decide what is best for you newbie. If you're an expert, they have over 100 strains, sativas, indicas, hybrids. You can have an edible. You can get a joint. You can get some tinctures. You can get a lot of fun stuff over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, mainly because they're all across Illinois. That's why they're Illinois' favorite dispensary. Sunnyside has locations in the city, like Wrigleyville and River North, and in the suburbs like Champaign, which is not our nation's capital or state's capital, and in South Beloit. I love the Elmwood Park location. Again, if you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands they know you'll love. Visit sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases, 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time. Game Time. What time is it?
Game time, who?
Thank you, Joey. Always on your feet. If you are looking to go to any of the 2005 festivities this weekend, Game Time is your way in. They can get you the ticket. It's not your ticket in, but they could get you the ticket to get you in. You get my point. Game Time is your place for last-minute deals. If you are just walking up at a 3:10 game time start or a 1:10 game time start, you can easily do that with our friends over at Game Time. If you're there at 1:08, game starts at 1:10, you can get those tickets very fast. And as the game time approaches, the prices go down. So you'll get the best deal the longer you wait. Check out our friends over at Game Time. Use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. I meant to say this at the top of the show, and thankfully, not Cease on Twitter reminded me the 2005 White Sox just won their 31st game, July 9th. The 2024 White Sox won their 31st game on August 21st. Oof. Then, before they won their 32nd game, this says they lost 13 in a row. I counted 12. So it then took them until September to win their 32nd game. So again, just remind yourself, it could be worse. Our pal Sam Guterman saying some sort of low-level lottery ticket should be the expectation, but considering Houser was picked up midseason with essentially no expectations, that should be considered a win. Obviously, it should be considered a win. Absolutely. I agree with you there, Sam. And I think the Cubs aren't a terrible team to honestly sniff around, Christian, because he's cheap and he gets a ton of ground balls. And they pride themselves on that defense up the middle with Swanson and Horner. Third base, Shaw plays a pretty good third base so far from what I can tell, and I know Bush has been hitting the cover off the ball, so as long as he's catching the ball at first base, you're pretty happy there.
And they need help.
We need help in the rotation.
The Cubs do, yeah.
So I think Houser plus Wilson could be interesting because Wilson's been doing fairly well. Really good sweeper, decent fastball. I think if you paired those two together, could you get a Fernando Cruz, who's 18, 5'11", in rookie ball? Right? He's only 18. Could you get a Christian Hernandez, who's 21, in advanced A? Could you get a Juan Tomas in rookie ball, who's only 17, 6'2", 177? Switch hitter. Could you get a Juan Tomas? I don't even know anything about Juan Tomas, but I know he's a switch hitter at 6'2".
Curious about
Ronnie
Christian
Cruz, who's an 18-year-older in rookie ball as well, 6'2", 170. I think that you would just be looking for, and Chris Getz even said so, I think you'd be looking for a shortstop, middle infielder, possibly center fielder, who's under 20.
Yeah, I'm just curious about, you mentioned Christian Hernandez there. That's a curious one because he came over in the Yu Darvish trade, and they had high hopes for him, and you don't really hear about him talked a lot about in their prospect pool, which is considered to be fairly deep right now. They have prospects to deal off. So I'm wondering if that's a guy that the White Sox could possibly target if they did package a couple of pitchers in one deal.
Yeah, I'm not super interested now that you've said that.
That's the thing, though. That's what I'm saying. They're down on him. That's what I'm getting at, too. So do you want to take a distressed asset on something that was probably a little bit higher a couple years ago?
Numbers aren't even that good. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely higher years ago. Baseball America pre-2020, 81st prospect in Major League Baseball. And then the pipeline even ranked him 92nd. But he's 21 in advanced A, hitting 267, 332, 402. It's better than what he did last year at South Bend, but there isn't much of an age differential for advanced A players at 21. But then also the South Bend Cubs say that he displayed light tower power on his third home run 24 hours ago. So I don't know. I could probably be swayed. I need to learn more about Juan Tomas, though. Do you know anything about Juan Tomas?
No, I'm not going to
Okay,
pretend.
come on. Yeah, let's look up Juan Tomas's stats. He's from the Dominican, 6'2", 177. Juan Andres Tomas in the Cubs Blue Dominican Summer League, 129 average, 341 OBP, and a 226 slug. No home runs. I don't know about Juan Tomas.
Control of the zone. Is that the phrase, maybe?
So, I mean, he's only 17, though, so let's not read too much into it. I don't... If you think you're going to get something for Houser, I just wouldn't. And let's just dive into some stats here. Today, 20% called strike plus whiff percentage, 5 whiffs on 56 swings. That's not good. 22 balls in play, an average exit velocity of 89.3 miles per hour. That's all right, but again, when you don't have a great defense that can field balls up the middle and field balls cleanly, that will just clog up the base paths. And then called strikes, 14 called strikes, which is pretty decent, but 20% called strike plus whiff percentage below major league average. And you can look at every single one of his starts. His first starts, 24% called strike plus whiff percentage. Major league average is 30%. Next start, 26%. Next start, 23%. Next start, 22%. Next start, 22%. On the 22nd of June, 28%, which is closing in. On the 28th, 35%, which is above. On the 4th, 31%, which is above. And then back to 20. So I think that's 2 of 9 that are above average. It's not a guy that should be super interesting because it's kind of like Bryce Elder, if you remember that weird discussion from 2024 when people were sharing, like, he's got all red bubbles on StatCast. And it's like the reason why Adrian Houser is able to get these results is because his barrel percentage is very good. It's because his ground ball percentage is very good. People don't really hit the ball hard on him, and he's able to get ground balls, right? He's able to get the right amount of contact, but he also doesn't strike anyone out. So when you're going up against the Blue Jays, they should probably be able to score more than 1 earned run than they did today, and the Sox got fairly lucky. But yeah,
I've just seen a little bit on Twitter. I'm wondering if you could help put it to rest. I did see some White Sox fans out there asking the question whether Adrian Houser should have been the All-Star selection over Shane Smith. I disagree.
We did this on Sunday.
Yeah.
Were you here?
I was. But that was right when it got announced. The last few days, there's been more of that, of Shane Smith.
Because people are stupid.
Well, just asking.
He's thrown 9 games, has no tie to the organization, was pulled from Texas in the middle of May.
And I think
is that good of a story, or are we just rewarding strict stats?
I think what you're going through right now.
He's as good as Zach Wheeler.
No, and what you're going through right now also further illustrates why Shane Smith deserves to be the All-Star selection. And maybe Sean Burke before even Adrian Houser.
What I was trying to say, too, I think I compared him to Vassell, who Vassell with 50 innings pitched is the second luckiest pitcher in Major League Baseball just behind Shota Imanaga. Shane Smith, what you see is what you get. What you get hasn't been good of late, but what you got earlier on in the year is way more intriguing than what Adrian Houser will give you. He is a Rule 5 pick that came out of the gates, lighting up the rotation. That guy got himself a job with the first 9 picks. And at the end of the day, you know who picks that roster? You know who picks the pitchers? The players. Do you know who impressed the players?
Shane Smith.
Shane Smith. You know who they know? Adrian Houser. They're probably pissed that they weren't able to demolish Adrian Houser after seeing him for a second time. So, sorry, not to get mad at you, but I don't get it. Like, yeah, you can look at a stat line and say, wow, his 156 ERA is great. Like, are you going to be talking about Adrian Houser when it comes to October? Are you even going to remember Adrian Houser next year? No. Shane Smith will be on the team. Like, Adrian Houser would be one of, if not the worst All-Stars in White Sox history.
I saw it
Adrian
on Twitter.
Houser was an All-Star for the White Sox?
Give me Jesse Crane.
Give me Jesse Crane.
I saw it on Twitter, and I thought it would wind you up pretty good. And I'm wondering if there are people that watch the show also still feel that way, because I agree with you. I think it's pretty ridiculous.
People don't like when I yell, so I don't know why you're razzing me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I yell way too much. Anyways, let's talk about Grant Taylor and Jordan Leisure. There's a great comment there from Kevin saying, when Jordan Leisure came in, my heart stopped. Granted, I was at work listening from a distance, but I couldn't believe he threw strikes like that. Granted, that kind of, what's it called? Asterisk there, listening from a distance. I was watching it.
At a close range.
I have the same exact feeling as you, Kevin. I couldn't believe how he threw strikes like that. That is like the best Jordan Leisure's ever looked in a White Sox uniform. That might be a little bit too aggressive there, but he looked really, really good. He did allow a hit, but I thought that was going to shake him up. He goes 3-2 against Alejandro Kirk, 2 outs, and Kirk is able to line a soft single into left field and extend the inning. I thought that was going to completely throw him off. Then comes up Miles Straw, who's just annoying, and Straw, gave a decent at bat, but he was able to get him out. He was able to pop him out to Luis Robert Jr. The 2 strikeouts also of Barger and Wagner were just impressive. I loved seeing what Jordan Leisure did, but to be honest, I didn't want to see him in this ballgame. I love the results we got from Jordan Leisure. I love that he was able to show something because his trade partner, Nick Nastrini, has now been designated for assignment by the Marlins. So grand opening, grand closing for Nick Nastrini. Like, you want that trade to turn into something for the White Sox, and Leisure is the last remaining vestige of that trade. You hope he turns into something, and this was something today. So, glad to see that, and he gets his second save of the year. I wanted to see more from Grant Taylor, though. I thought that this was going to be a day where Grant Taylor throws about 30 pitches, 12 pitches for Grant Taylor, 9 strikes. That's pretty good. 1 hit, 1 strikeout, no walks. Grant Taylor is just amazing. He's just so damn fun to watch. And I at least am happy about how the bullpen was deployed. Taylor faces Springer, who was batting 9th, and then the top of the order, Bo Bichette was able to get a double off of Grant Taylor, but for the most part, I would rather see Grant Taylor against the top of the lineup than getting the save. That's why I just thought, though, they would let him go for a second inning, but I am thrilled if these two can get it together. Because if this is your 8 and 9 in whatever order they want to deploy him in, if Leisure's on it like today, they could be pretty good. I don't want to get too aggressive because I know Grant Taylor's good.
We're not going to build a circle of trust like the Cubs show, but
no, because we don't trust any of them.
I was going to say, where would Cam Boozer land and all that?
Like, I think Leisure, we've seen so much of him before, and we know progress is not linear. So maybe he finally found something. Maybe he was able to lock into a bullpen or something. But if Leisure's able to get in, I think that actually helps Taylor's growth. If Taylor is able to be like, all right, you're getting the best lineup and the best 3 hitters they have, that's what we're going to trust you with, and then Leisure's able to actually just clean up, and they're not able to extend, or they don't have to extend Taylor for 2 innings, maybe that is what's best for Taylor's ultimate growth, because I really don't have a cutoff. I don't have the ability to be like, oh, that's too much. My cousin Carlin,
a governor, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but yeah, sure.
It's on a golf cart. It prevents you from driving over a cliff or certain speeds. You can't go 70 miles an hour.
Sure. I went to a communion party when I was little for my cousin Carlin, and they had a chocolate fountain. And that's kind of the day I learned that I really didn't have an ability to tell myself no, because then my dad got in trouble for when he brought me home to my mom's, and this young child was projectile vomiting all over the walls.
I'm imagining you swimming in it at the party. Augustus Gloop style.
Pretty much. And I got super sick. And I think that's what I need to be kind of held back from by Will Venable and this White Sox team is Grant Taylor's the chocolate fountain. And I do want 2 innings of Grant Taylor. I do want a ton of Grant Taylor. The more Grant Taylor I can get, the better. And I think it's good for not only Jordan Leisure, for Grant Taylor's development, but I also think it's good for myself if they don't push him to those 2 inning saves. I think it's neat. I think it's cool. But at the end of the day, let's just see him throw 9 out of 12 strikes and just dominate 9, 1, 2, and 3 of the Blue Jays. I think he's probably just needs to see some balls go in, and maybe he can have some intensive bullpens on the days off that he needs to build up to. But we're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. If you have any thoughts, let us know. Kevin says, fair, Leisure always had stuff but can't locate. No, and he located today. So, that was the surprising thing. It was he looked really dominant because he was able to throw his pitches confidently in the zone, and he was able to get results. So, hey, maybe that will learn him to trust his stuff a little bit because he was able to use a splitter, slider, fastball. and he did it really well. We'll be back to talk about the 2005 team here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. 588-2300 Empire today. If you are looking to redo the floors in your home, the experts over at Empire have you covered. Don't go to a big box store. Don't get helped by one of my cousins, one of your cousins, one of Joey's cousins. Don't get helped by your husband's buddy to install floors into your home. Have experts in the flooring world bring samples to your home and have them compare those samples to the furniture that you currently have. And then once you like a floor enough, a floor sample enough, they'll have experts come in, install those floors, boom. You won't have to deal with any problems because experts did it. You also get $350 off when you use promo code CHGO. You could schedule a free home estimate today because some things are better at home. CHGO listeners can also receive a $350 off discount when using promo code CHGO, a $350 off discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. We also want to let you know about our good friends over at Mint Mobile. What you don't want this summer, whether it's summer barbecues or 3-day weekends or beach trips, the last thing you want holding you back is your dang wireless bill. You don't want your mom texting you, hey, we have like a gig left of data, and then you're unable to look up Brooks Baldwin's timeline for his injury. I mean, what did Davis Martin do in his first rehab start? Oh, I don't know. I don't have data. Ditch your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages with our friends over at Mint Mobile. For 3 months of unlimited premium wireless, for $15 a month, you get 3 months of unlimited premium wireless. There you go, with our friends over at Mint Mobile. New customer offer with 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month. Upfront payment of $45 required. Limited time customer offer for only 3 months only. Speeds may slow over 35 gigabits on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. Visit mintmobile.com/White Sox for that new customer offer of 3 months for $45. Back here on the CHGO White Sox post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Again, I'm not trying to be negative. Adrian Houser has been very, very good. Again, CHSN will tell you is that the league is now on notice about Adrian Houser. I just think Sox fans will be disappointed by the return. Turd Ferguson in our chat just commented during the break, going to watch after work. Hello in the future, Turd. But stop by to say, yes, Houser will bring in a haul, especially if teams like the Marlins start to second guess about trading Alcantara. Maybe fair about the Alcantara thing. Again, the amount of bidders will ultimately drive up the price, but I don't think this $500 item is going to get you 4 digits. I don't think this $500 item is going to appreciate to $1,000, right? I think the most you can ask for is like, $150 increase. And it's not even just Turd Ferguson. It's the guys calling the damn game. Dan Plesac from the I told you so category, the best and most efficient starting pitcher that will be available at the trade deadline, the White Sox right-handed pitcher Adrian Houser. Today versus the Blue Jays, 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Pitcher, not a thrower. The word is getting out. Now a 5-2 record with a 1.56 ERA and 9 starts with the White Sox. So it's not just Turd Ferguson. It's also Dan Plesac. I would be shocked if they're able to get multiple intriguing items back for Houser. Be glad if they're able to get something for Adrian Houser. Chris Getz masterclass, but I think it will still be like a 17-year-old shortstop from the Dominican, and I think it'll probably be like an A- to an A deal. Like just trading Adrian Houser in general is good. I think the only way you get a bad grade for an Adrian Houser deal is leaving him on the team, is not trading him. So, we'll see what ultimately happens, but I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be that interesting.
That's the other part about it that I think fans forget about sometimes, is that when they always think about the return in the now, in the reality of the moment. So think about whoever we're getting back for Adrian Houser can also possibly be a piece that we trade for somebody else down the road. The idea is to collect as many intriguing assets as possible. And then do you understand what I'm saying there?
I guess. I mean, I don't know where the White Sox would be buying in any sense. I mean, usually if you're collecting assets, that means you're collecting assets to then unload later. But
if you're talking about a 19-year-old from the Dominican in 3 years when Ishbia takes the team over and he's maybe knocking on the door of AA, AAA, maybe the Adrian Houser return turns into somebody. I'm just saying it doesn't always mean the player has to make it for it to be a good trade for the organization.
Timelines in baseball are way more aggressive than that. If you trade for a guy that's 18 in rookie ball right now, next year you'd hopefully see him in A ball. If he's doing well enough, you move him up to advanced A, and then by 20 years old, he'd already be in AA. So, like, I mean, even when Ishbia takes over, like, that kid's likely gone. And I don't even think that, you know, it's like the kid that just traded for you, the kid you just brought up with the Cubs, getting in Yu Darvish. Like, he's 21 at advanced A, and he's got like a 750 OPS plus, like, or OPS. Like, I'm not interested in that. Most of baseball won't be interested in that. Like, it's kind of you make it or you don't, and it's like the ones that swim are pretty clear. So I don't know. I hear you on that.
You never know. You're trying to take an Adrian Houser asset that only has a finite amount of run, and you're trying to turn it into something that can create variables.
Just anything that's not Adrian Houser.
Right.
I just don't want a 32-year-old in this team. I mean,
Savali was the other hope with this too as well, but I think Savali will be with the White Sox.
Yeah, it's like, do you want Adrian Houser or do you want a mystery box? And it's like,
give me the box. The
box. I want the box. I don't want Adrian Houser. I didn't want Adrian Houser when they first signed him. I'm surprised they're getting anything for him. Anyways, let's move on to something. I mean, Adrian Houser's a good story, but let's move on to probably the story, the best story. The White Sox are going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the 2005 team this weekend, and this week it starts on Thursday. You also have games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A little bit different of a timeline as well for some of these games, just with the festivities. Tomorrow will be 6:40. Then on Friday, it will be 7:10, not a 6:40 start like it typically is. Then on Saturday, it will be 3:10, not 1:10 like it sometimes is. And then on the 13th, it will be 1:10. On the 10th, it's Yacht Rock night, so woohoo, let's go. If you want to get a boat captain hat, they're bringing that back. Our other boat captain hat is back there. There's also Pride at the Park. That got rained out, so if you are looking to celebrate Pride, it's no longer Pride Month, but there also is Pride at the Park tomorrow. On July 11th, it's the statue unveiling of Mark Burley. The first 1,500 fans, that's on July 12th, the first 1,500 fans on Friday get the 2005 Champs Hawaiian shirt. So if you're looking to Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I want to take you. There's also post-game fireworks on Friday. On Saturday, you have the 2005 reunion pregame ceremony. We'll get to the entire lineup. That will be there in just a second. The first 1,500 fans will get a Burley replica statue. That's presented by Miller Lite, so only 21 plus. So if you're trying to get that for your kid can't take it because your kid's likely not 21 plus. Hey, if you got an older kid, maybe you can. And there's also the 05 photograph session. So if you want to get some special tickets for that, you could sign up. And then on Sunday, there will be Burley, Garland, Freddie, and Jose Contreras throwing out the first pitch. The first 10,000 fans get the four-headed bobblehead of Burley, Garland, Garcia, and Contreras. Nancy Faust will be there as well. Let's go to the cast and crew that will be there on, I think it's just the entire weekend, mainly Saturday and Sunday. But this is from Chuck Garfien. Brian Anderson will be there.
Yes.
Headliner. Of course, Harold Baines will be there. Jeff Blum will be there. We hope Mark Burley will be there because he's got a statue unveiling. That'd be kind of bad if Mark Burley wasn't going to be there. As previously mentioned, Contreras will be throwing out the first pitch. He'll be there. White Sox legend Neil Kotz will be there.
Nice.
Hell yes. Joe Creedy will be there, number 24. Jermaine Dye will be there, number 23. You also have Carl Everett.
Switch hitter. Secretly drove in, 88, 90 runs? 20. I'm just keeping it on the field. Keeping it on the field.
Freddie Garcia will be there. John Garland will be there. How bummed do you think John Garland is?
In what regard?
On Sunday, 4 of the 5 pitchers in the rotation will be throwing out the first pitch. John Garland will not be, but he did earlier in the year, so maybe that was the kind of succession. Or
he's
concession
a California
that they made.
dude. He's pretty laid back. Maybe he doesn't mind. He was always a late bloomer, so maybe he's just cool chilling in the back.
Mike Gellinger will be there. Ozzie Guillen will be there. The guy. Can we get where's the hell yes? Yes.
I'm ready when you are.
No, play it. Because Hawk Harrelson will be there.
Yes! Yes! Hell yeah!
Dustin Hermanson will be there. Orlando Hernandez will be there. Tadahito Iguchi will be there. Darren Jackson will be there. We hope he's working. Paul Konerko will be there. Damaso Marte will be there.
There we go.
Hector Molina will be there. Pablo Ozuna will be there.
Cliff Polite.
Timo Perez will be there.
Kelly Wunsch.
AJ Przynski will be there. Scott Podsednik will be there. Cliff Polite will be there. You just were not there alphabetically. John Rooney will be there, which will be cool. Cardinals broadcaster now. Herm Schneider will be there. Alan Thomas will be there. I don't think Alec will be there. Again, they could have drafted him, and Alec could have been there. But Juan Uribe will be there. Luis Vizcaino will be there. Greg Walker will be there. And finally, last but not least, you may think I'm saying Frank Thomas, but of course I'm saying Chris Witcher. Why is Frank Thomas not there?
No Mr. Zero.
Frank Thomas got a ring. I don't care if Frank Thomas played 34 games. He had 12 home runs.
Is that one of the weirder? It's not like it's not acrimonious, but that is one of the weirder sports things that I've really ever come across, where a guy has been such a legend for a team and really a face of a franchise, back-to-back MVPs, but I do not really associate him with that 2005 World Series team. He hit a couple bombs the first couple months of the year, but didn't dress for the World Series or any of the playoff games.
Didn't dress for the World Series, and then they kicked him out of the door. Kenny Williams somehow picked up Frank Thomas by the cowl of his neck and kicked his behind out onto 35th and Shields. I mean, that was the whole stay out of White Sox business comment to Frank. They were extremely disrespectful to Frank, so I don't think Frank looks back at 2005 with fond memories. I mean, he got a ring, which is cool, and he probably thinks like, that was for my time of being a White Sox, was I got to at least celebrate that moment with the organization, but I don't think he looks at that as like his achievement,
No, it's strange.
He put them in that position because of his play from the 90 to 2004.
Yeah, when we say platitudes with Frank, we go back-to-back MVP. We go first ballot Hall of Famer. Not a lot of people say World Series champion. No. And it's an oddity. Yeah.
I mean, he is. I mean, also Miguel Vargas is a World Series champion.
This is true.
So, I mean, I would say Frank Thomas had more of a contribution to the 2005 team than Miguel Vargas did in the 2024 team.
Jack Haley on the bench for the Bulls has, 3-4 rings too as well because he followed Rodman around. And I get it, but yeah, it's still a little weird with Frank.
That's funny, too. They don't actually even list him as a World Series champion on Baseball Reference. They list him as
it's weird.
Hall of Fame, 2-time MVP, 5-time All-Star, home run derby champ. 4-time Silver Slugger.
He golfed like 12 bombs for them the first couple months of the year. I mean, that's all he was. He was basically just a dude trying to hit it over the yard. And then he went on and had a couple good years with Toronto and Oakland. But
if we had a guy that in 34 games hit 12 home runs for this team, I would be giving them a crown.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean,
that was Miguel Vargas' couple years stretch there.
He literally just went up there trying to hit like the driver every time up at the plate that year, and I love to see it.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
Vargas is not listed as a World Series champion, so at least that's some solace there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he's there or not there. I think it's just probably not too good of memories. Willie Harris won't be there because he's a minor league coach or minor league manager right now. So no Willie Harris if you were looking for Willie Harris.
Bummer.
The one guy that had a Willie Harris jersey that was dusting off.
Can we bring Josh Paul back just to say thanks?
That's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox postgame show. Hope you're going this weekend. If you are, send us some photos either at CHGO_White Sox or at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Joey Christopoulos for producing the show. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We will be back on Sunday to recap this entire series that's coming up, the 4-game series between the White Sox and the Guardians. Go into your July weekend knowing that the White Sox already have 31 wins and we don't have to go through the BS that we did last year. Woohoo! Goodbye. 588-2300 Empire today. If you are looking to redo